Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So in this video, I want to go over the apparently leaked choices that we will be getting in each episode of Double Exposure. Now before I go through what these choices are, I want to make it very clear. Number one, take this with a grain of salt. This could be entirely fabricated. And number two, the person who sent me these leaked choices is also the same person who showed me that photo from the Reddit leak, which is Max's photo. You see in her room, it's on the bed, and you see in the distance, it's depending on what ending you have, determines on what picture Max has. And dude, I know you don't want to be named, I'm not going to name you, but you gotta send me where you got this link. I don't know if it's from Reddit, 4chan, Twitter, because I like to leave a link in the description below so that people can check it out for themselves, so they know I'm not blowing smoke. But anyways, let's get into these choices. The first choice is Max decided to sacrifice her former best friend. Max decided to sacrifice her hometown. Now this is a choice I'm very interested to see the statistics in when I play the game, because I've said before I'm going to be doing a playthrough where I sacrifice Chloe, but my Max and her were high school sweethearts. And the reason I'm doing this is because if it's true that Chloe isn't really in the game, if Deck 9 decides to screw us over, I at least want to enjoy the game for a bit. Because that way, if I play the game, it's like $130 wasted. At least let me get a little enjoyment out of my money. But no, I'm very interested to see the statistics of what players are going to choose, as Deck 9 has stated that new players can just jump right into this game and it will automatically generate one of the two endings for him. The next choice is Max approached Amanda confidently and Max approached Amanda nervously. Now I think that this scene happens in the Shattered Turtle, and the choice for Max approaching Amanda confidently is that scene where she downs her martini and then goes to approach Amanda. That could be because, like, alcohol is liquid courage, as some people say, so it could be that Max chooses to scold the drink or not, which results in she goes over to Amanda confidently or nervously. We then have Max agreed to speak about Safi versus Max refused to speak about Safi. And this could very well be that scene where we see in the Unleashed Powers trailer, where Max has a bit of a breakdown when everyone's doing their best to act calm about Safi's murder. And Max goes off saying, "You're acting like she had a heart attack or was in a car crash. No, she was murdered." And so this scene of Max breaking down, that could be entirely optional if she doesn't decide to speak about Safi. The next choice is Max agreed to assist Diamond and Amanda with rehearsals later versus refused to help them with rehearsals later. Well, it says declined, not refused. And this could be because Amanda has mentioned that she and her friend Henry are in a comedy group, and Amanda does comedy, so maybe they could be asking Max to help them out for rehearsals, and Max would be like, "Yeah, I can do this," or "Nah, I'm good, thanks." But this may be in the timeline where Sophie's alive, because I think everyone's going to be a bit too down in the dumps to do a comedy show after Sophie's death. Or watch a comedy. The next choice is Max participated in Loretta's interrogation versus Max pointed out Loretta's bluff, and we've seen that before, and it appears that this happens in the timeline where Sophie is dead, and Loretta appears to be blackmailing Max. Now, this could go one of two ways. She's either blackmailing Max as she knows about her past in Arcadia Bay, and Max doesn't want her past, regardless of what ending, because she keeps that part of herself, secret, because it's too traumatizing. But if it's not that, then it may be that Loretta finds out that Max was one of the last people was the first person to discover Sophie's body, and Moses was the second, and she could be threatening to expose the both of them as the ones who found Sophie's body, and this could get questions and rumors going around the school. It's like, why did this happen? Could Max and Moses be responsible? Why would one or both of them want to hurt Sophie? But no, you know what? I'm gonna call the bluff. I will not be intimidated. She got nothing on me. Next is the last choices for episode 1. Max earned Moses' trust versus Max disappointed Moses. And the only scenario I can see this happening in is where Max has the option to agree to cooperate with Detective Vince, with Detective Alderman. I was gonna say that sounds better, or to decline him. Now, this is why these leaks could be bullshit, because we know that this scene taking place now is in episode 2, and this is supposed to be episode 1. So these choices may all be up in the air, and like different ones in different places, so that's why I said take it with a grain of salt, because we already have a choice here that's meant to be for episode 1 when we're talking about episode 2 here. And I don't know all about you, but I'm personally going to side with Detective Alderman, and the reason I'm doing this is because I think Moses is, at least in the first walkthrough, and the reason I'm doing this is because I think that Moses' reason for stealing Sophie's camera is completely stupid. And I think maybe we end up giving him back the camera if we agree to help him. So Moses, you did a stupid thing. Like, I'm not getting caught in the crossfire. I do not want to get set up for Sophie's murder. I do not want to be framed, So, yeah, you're on your own, buddy. And speaking of episode 2, let's move on to these choices that are supposedly in episode 2. Max accepted taking Adrian's business card versus Max rejected Adrian's help. Now, I think Adrian might be this Gabe Chen knockoff, but I'm not too sure. But let me know, do you think, because if you look at the one on the left, he kind of looks like Gabe. I don't know, maybe that's because his eyes are a bit squinty. But yeah, I don't know, it just looks a bit weird to me. But what this business card could be, I have no idea. This could perhaps be in the timeline where Sophie's alive, and perhaps this guy's telling Max he likes her work and tries to give her a business card to see if she wants to set it up in a gallery or something. Because we know she's a photographer in residence at Colden University, but maybe this guy likes her work and wants to get her more famous, like get her work out there and make Max become the famous photographer she really wants to be, which I assume by this point she's teaching at Colden University, so she's clearly got infamy, at least like a little. The next choice is actually 3 choices. Max and Moses uncovered Hannah's secret, Max and Sophie uncovered Hannah's secret, Max missed the chance to uncover Hannah's secret. Now, we don't know any character, at least we haven't seen a character called Hannah yet, but Hannah may be the one, like when it talks about secret, could be the one who has this dark room, and so Max will have the option, because you remember there's, in the first Life is Strange, like even in other ones, there's always been multiple options for one choice. Like episode 2, who does Max blame for Kate getting up on the roof, Nathan, Jefferson, or David? And so this could be a similar thing to that. So with Moses, Max will uncover Hannah's secret in the timeline where Sophie's dead, whereas Max and Sophie will uncover Hannah's secret in the timeline where Sophie's alive. The next choice is Max revealed her powers to Moses versus Max concealed her powers from Moses. Now I'm gonna obviously reveal Max's powers to Moses because I'm curious to see how the developers are gonna handle this specifically, because they mentioned that if Max chooses to tell Moses about her powers and how they've changed, he could use his field of expertise. He could use his field of expertise to figure out why it is Max's powers have changed. And I'm very interested to see what they're going to come up with, because let's be clear, we know from the games have the same trend. A person experiences a traumatic event and then they get powers, and their powers are based off their personality. But that's what a lot of people theorize. It's never actually been canon, but that's something I go off, and I just don't want them to say, oh, there's like a hidden mutant gene in people that gets triggered. Like, no, that's just stupid. Some things are better left mysterious and ambiguous. We then have the last choice for the supposed episode 2, which is Max successfully talked Yasmin down, Max couldn't calm Yasmin down, Max attempted to disarm Yasmin. Now, the only thing I can think of when it comes to disarm is, someone has a weapon, and if you disarm them, you get the weapon away from them. Now, I originally thought this scene here would be the detective pointing the gun at Max and Moses, but this could actually be Yasmin, Sophie's mother, instead. Because if you look at what she's wearing here, and we take a look at another screenshot, we see that the sleeves and the jacket are similar. Not to mention, if we zoom up on her hand, you'll see that she's on her wrist, her left wrist, she's wearing a watch. And while it's hard to see, if you take a good look at her wrist in the left photo, you can see there's a bit of, or even if you want to go back and look at the image where you get the full picture, where you see Max holding a bag and Moses a bit in the corner, you can see that her wrist looks a different color than her other wrist. Like her left wrist looks different to the right wrist, which could be that it's the blurry version of the watch we see her wearing in the other image, so that could be why it looks a bit different. But why would Yasmin be pulling a gun on Max? Well, whatever Max has done, it's clear that she's broken, I'm going to take a guess, she's broken into Sophie's office, at least her and Moses have, and they've taken some file, and Yasmin pulls a gun on them, because it could be that with Sophie dead, she's suspicious of Max and even Moses. Like, I'd say she's more suspicious of Max because she was the one that threw Max a landline, as she says. She's the one that got her the job at Colden University, and 6 months later her daughter's dead. Yeah, obviously I'd be pretty suspicious of the person I invited to work at my university too. So, and she's probably the one that shoots Moses. Yeah, well, probably is. If it's her, then yeah, definitely she's the one that shoots Moses in his left shoulder. Now let's move on to the supposed choices for episode 3. Max shared a compassionate moment with Amanda. Max and Amanda embraced. Max was distant with Amanda. Now, this scene could be the one where Max is at Amanda's place and Max is sharing her love of photography with Amanda. I can see that happening. The compassionate moment being Max is talking about her love of photography, and Max and Amanda embracing could be where they kiss. And if Max is distant with Amanda, it could be I don't really want to talk about my past or anything, because this game's made it clear we can share our past with Moses, for example, or we can tell him, and that would involve telling Moses about our powers, and then we'd have to talk about our past. But with Amanda, it's got to be the same thing, right? If Max isn't open with Amanda, then how can the relationship start? But yeah, at least that's what I'm interpreting. If she doesn't open, if she doesn't talk about her interests, if she keeps distance, then yeah, relationship's not really going to work. Now, before I move on to the rest of the choices, I want to make this clear. If Deck 9 does decide to screw us over with Chloe and have her and Max not friends or in a relationship anymore, even after we saved her, or some other bullshit like that, this is my vow to all you people. I will reject Amanda's advances. I will be a complete dick to her in every single outfit. And and once that's done, I'll even take requests. You tell me what outfit you want to see, and I'll make a video of it. But hopefully it doesn't come to that, but if it does, alright, in fact I may even make it for the hell of it. But moving on. Max revealed her traumatic past to Sophie. Max hid her traumatic past from Sophie. And I think this is very interesting if it is a choice, for two reasons. The first is that Sophie is meant to be the sort of new best friend for Max in this, in Chloe's stead, while Chloe is either dead or away doing something else for the time being. But I think that it's a bit weird not telling, like having this be optional, Like, that's my second reason, because if Max is going through all of this, wouldn't she want to tell? Like, I find it good and bad for two reasons. The first is, it's good for, you know, if you want a game with choice and consequences, Max can you can choose as Max to keep what's happening a secret and figure out who's trying to kill Sophie in this alternate timeline, or you can decide to tell her. And they give us this choice with Moses. We can tell Moses about our powers, so obviously Max is gonna mention her past to him. So the fact that they give us this option not to tell her, if these leaks are real, is, I find it pretty interesting. But at the same time, it's like, maybe it shouldn't be a choice. It should be part of a story where Max has to tell her what's going on. Like, maybe Sophie ends up seeing Max's powers, what is going on, or it could even be right here, where Max is talking about her powers, and Sophie wants to know how she got her powers, but Max can choose so Max can tell her about the alternate timeline about her powers, but we have the option to keep our past in Arcadia Bay a secret. The next choice is Max chose to inform Loretta about Hannah's photographs, and versus Max chose not to mention Hannah's photographs to Loretta. And what comes to mind about photographs is, that, again, that dark room. That maybe whoever this Hannah is, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for her. If I find out who she is, same as when I find out who Maria is, I'll let you all know. But this Hannah, I'm going to be keeping an eye on her too. If these leaks are real, if she's a real character, I'll be keeping my eye on her as well. Because who knows what kind of shady stuff she's up to. And I just want to mention, is it just me, or has Deck 9 changed Loretta's face? I don't know, because it looks different to me now in this new Powers Unleashed trailer. Now, the last choice for episode 3 is Max uncovered the truth about Gwen's past versus Max chose not to delve into Gwen's past. Now, I've had some people telling me, because with the ESRB rating, it mentions that there is a trans character who's married to a woman and has a traumatic past, and some people are telling me that Gwen's a trans character, and that may or may not be true, I don't know. But if it is, that could be why she goes to Max in this scene. "You're so goddamn nosy, Max." Max is like, "I'm sorry." And so in one timeline, we'll probably have to get nosy to figure out how to approach Gwen in the other timeline and broach the subject of whatever it is Max is trying to figure out about Gwen's past. Alright, so the first choice we have for episode 4 is Max accepted Reggie's joint versus Max turned down Reggie's joint. Now, we know that this guy here is Reggie, and the girl he's talking to is Diamond. I originally thought he was Henry and she was Maria, but I was wrong. But this was way back when. But we know that what's interesting is that they're students, and what the trailers do, if you go back and you watch the earlier trailers, when the narrator says specific things, like, for example, mentions anxiousness and you see Moses shaking his hand, it mentions romance and you see Amanda give Max her number. So they're pretty descriptive. When they say something, they show a scene to let you know, okay, this is it. So we see here that Reggie and Amanda are students. At least I'd have to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Undergraduates? I don't know much about universities and what tier level you go through to graduate, but if they're students, Max, you're gonna get in trouble, for smoking a joint with students. But after that, we have Max accepted a drinking game with Gwen versus Max refused drinking with Gwen. And I think this could be the part where it mentions, if you remember the ESRB rating, where it said, like, which one of the professors do you find bangable? Maybe that could be something, and Max has to guess who Gwen finds, who Gwen would bang, or kind of like the game Marry F Kill type situation. And for every answer Max gets right or wrong, she has to drink. At least that's the only thing I can think of at the moment. The next choice we have is Max succeeded in winning the audience's heart versus Max let Amanda down. Now, this could be the comedy night that Amanda mentions to Max. She mentions her and her buddy Henry do a comedy act, and there's actually a scene you can find where Isaac is on stage with Henry, and this could be a scene where maybe Amanda wants Max to come on stage with her, and then Max can do this comedy thing with Amanda, or Max can be like, nah, I'm not doing that, you do it though, you have fun. And it could even be, for example, Amanda might call her out when everyone's watching. Amanda's like, and Max would be like, nah, I'm good, thanks, you keep going. Or maybe Amanda wants Max to come up stage and says, come on, it'll be fun, and Max is like, no, I really don't want to. And that could disappoint Amanda. The next choice we have is Max managed to track down Moses, Max managed to track down Safi. Now, what could this mean? Could maybe one of them have gone missing or something? Because it makes what the next choices, it makes what goes on with the next choices interesting. Max confronted Abraxas alone, Max confronted Abraxas with Safi, Max confronted Abraxas with Moses, Max confronted Abraxas with Moses and Safi. So Max managing to track down Safi or Moses, they could have been taken by Abraxas, but for what reason? I'm not too sure. How does that relate to Safi's death? And how does it relate to her being alive in the alternate timeline? And so Max can manage to track down Moses with Safi, or Max could track down Safi with Moses' help, or she could be with both of them in the alive timeline and confront Abraxas that way, or maybe both of them are taken. I don't know, it's just a bit suspicious, if this Abraxas, I'll be keeping my eye on them. This brings us to the choices of episode 5. Max discovered the truth about the evolution of her powers versus Max was unable to uncover the truth about the evolution of her powers, and I do believe Moses will play a big part, at least like one of the key factors into Max figuring out why her powers are evolving. And then we have an interesting choice at the very end. Max defragmented from the Venus timeline versus Max defragmented from the Mercury timeline. Now, the use of the word defragmented is very interesting because what it is, it involves the process of rearranging data on a storage device like a hard drive. And I find it interesting how they, as I said, they use that word because it to me, the way I'm interpreting it is Max can't exist, at least how I'm interpreting it, Max can't exist in both timelines. And she's jumping from timeline to timeline, so maybe she's going to have to break up, like defragment her body in one of the timelines so that both of the timelines, the apocalypse, it all stops, and that way there's still two timelines, but she's locked out of one. And I think that'd be a hell of an ending, because can you imagine you choose to have a timeline with Chloe in it, like that's what your imported save is, or what your ending was, not imported save. And so you have Max and Chloe together in one timeline, possibly where Safi's alive and happy, everything's going well, but the other timeline still exists and there's no Max for Chloe. That's just crazy. Well, especially even if you decide to be in a relationship with Amanda. What happens if Max, okay, she gets that, but she can't access the other timeline, so that other Amanda's like, what happened to Max? And everyone could be looking for her, and there could be a similar Rachel Amber situation where there's missing flyers of Max, everyone's trying to find her. But that'd be crazy. But that's all there is to talk about with these choices. As I said, you take them with a grain of salt. They may be real, maybe not. And my friend, you know who you are, do send me a link when you can so I can link it in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm very interested to know if you think these are real or not and what your opinions are. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.